Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. La Tregua, Panamá. I see you. Dun, 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 dun. Packed up my life, took a leap of faith. Left California for a better day. Didn't know how it all would go, but I knew I had to let it flow. Now I'm waking up to ocean breeze. Punta Shami got me feeling free. Soft sand under my feet. Peace of mind, finally me. Casco Viejo, rooftop views. City lights got a different mood. From the coast to the avenue, every step feel brand. I just wanna show some love to you, but I had to show some love to me. New life, new energy. Now I'm living how I'm supposed to be. I just wanna show some love to you.
Hello everyone. Thank you for joining me today. If you are new here, my name is Latriva Hill. I moved to Panama 2 and a couple months years ago, and I still absolutely love it here. So today we're going to talk about how I took my expenses here in Panama from over $3,000 to down to $1,300. If that's something that you're interested in hearing about, please stay tuned and I will break down my expenses for you. This video was inspired by one of the viewers who made a comment that he was here for about a week and blew through so much money. That's one of the things that I was saying when you first come here, to have the mindset of this is your new home. And he was just here scouting. I believe it was a male. He was here just scouting, but the cost did add up. When I first got here, I did everything luxury because I thought that was the safest thing to do. So my first year here was extremely expensive. And I did all the excursions. I did everything that I wanted to do in that first month. So I spent a lot of money. So the first year of me living here, I spent, my monthly expenses was about $3,000 plus, depending on how much food I bought and also how much entertainment that, I wanted to get out and do. But back then I was doing each and everything that hit the apps. I was going. The things that fluctuated most in my budget was my rent, my entertainment, and also my food. When I first got here, I was used to buying more bulk items, cooking more than I need. And I'm not one of those people that like to eat leftovers more than one day. So I waste food a lot. So until I moved to the country, I was wasting a bunch of food because I was still cooking in bulk for, like, if I was cooking for my family. So the first year, $1,600 a month for rent. I spent $250 on average for my electricity. Your cable bill will always be about $50, $49, $50. And my food bill was about $500. Entertainment, $600. And my transportation was about $100. So that put me at $3,000. And anything that I did a little bit over that, that's the plus if I did any extra stuff. So the second year moving into that country house, my expenses went from $3,000 down to $1,150. And the biggest change in my budget was the housing. So I went from $1,600 a month down to $500 a month. I went from $250 in electricity down to a consistent $100 a month electricity. Cable is still the same. I changed my eating habits because I stayed home a little more. So my food budget went down to about $250, and entertainment went down to $200. I started getting out only about once a week. And I was doing things that were more cost effective. Transportation went down from $100 to $50 because I was only getting out once a week. And that brought my total to $1,150 by the time I moved to the countryside. So I cut my budget more than half just moving out of the city. So now I'm going into my third year. I am adding to the budget a little bit because, as you see, I have a pool. Some of the things that has changed in that budget, my rent is $550, so I went $50 more. The ad was for $600. I negotiated down to $550. My electricity is still $100. Cable, $50. My food is still around $250 a month. Transportation went down to about $50 because now I'm catching the bus more. Going into my third year, I'm keeping my expenses around the same amount that I was paying in the country. The only thing that I added here was a pool and a gardener. I do have a pool guy, gardener guy that comes once a week, and I negotiated that down to $100 a month. So that's $100 added there, and a housekeeper here for about twice a month. So that'll be about $70. So those are the two additions, but cost, it still gets me under $1,500 a month. So that's what I'm looking at for my basic living. Like I said, when you come here, the biggest savings that you will have is in your housing. So I've seen, when I was in the city, I did used to Airbnb some of my rooms out, and people would come and scout and stay with me for a week. I had people staying with me for a month. So that could be one of the things that you might want to consider when you are coming to Panama on a scouting trip. You're going to spend the majority of the time outside of the house anyway. You should be getting to know the areas, being booked for full days with your realtor, and make sure that they book for the whole day. You really have to stay on top of those realtors because you're going to have to see a bunch of properties to find the one that fits your needs. Scouting for your property is the most frustrating thing that you will have to do here in Panama, and just be patient with it. This is, like I said, a totally different country with different expectations. So if you are trying to keep your costs low, please be open-minded with the houses that you're looking at. And I'm sure that you'll probably be looking at furnished. So look at some of the things that you can change to keep the house low, because the housing is where you're going to save the most money. So you might not have all the nice furniture, the nice appliances, and you might want to look at some of the small things that you can do to make that unit your own. And like I did here, I didn't want half of their furniture. They don't have storage units. They do have storage units here in Panama, but the owners don't like to add that extra expense because they have nowhere to put the furniture that you don't want. So not only did I negotiate my rent down from $600 to $550, but I also got him to take a lot of the furniture out of here because I do own my own furniture. But just be patient. Stick with it. You will find the unit for you. But to save a little bit money here when you get here for scouting, I would consider co-living, which, you know, rent a room. There is a hotel in El Barrio, El Cangrejo, that I love, which is the Principe. It's very reasonably priced. So that could help too. When I first got here, I think I stayed there for about a week, and that was the cheapest week that I've had for my scouting trip. So find ways in your housing where you can save money. Panama is fairly safe, and I know people who have rented rooms for their scouting trips and it went just fine. Just take a look at the house or the apartment. Ask how many people live there so that you know how many people should be coming and going. Also, just make sure that they have, you have a private bathroom. That's the only thing that I was worried about, making sure that I had a private bathroom. That's all I really cared about. I I didn't rent a room, but that would have been a great option. So if you are moving to Panama to save money and to have a more cost-effective lifestyle, you will save money here in Panama, but your housing will be the most savings that you will have here. So take your time, be patient with Panama, and it will deliver for you just as it has delivered for me. I hope this has helped, and I hope that when you get to Panama, you are not discouraged on your scouting trip, because it's out there. Take your time, find the one that fits your budget, your lifestyle, and I think you will enjoy Panama just as much as I do. One of the things that I have fallen in love with, as you guys know, is this bus route. Make sure that you are near a bus route or the train, because the train is coming here. The train is going to be extremely convenient and easy to get into the city. So I would look at those little things, those small things that will make a big difference in your expenses here. So I hope this helped. If you do have any other questions, please leave them below. But thank you so much for your support. Bye. Happy scouting.